Can Beyblade X become a sport? That's a question I've been asking myself ever since Takara Tomy started using the term gear sports for Beyblade X marketing. Everyone may have different opinions regarding this topic. Some may believe that Beyblade can become a sport, some may consider that to be silly, some may even argue that it already is a sport. So I thought I would just share with you my opinion on this matter through this video. Before talking about the game of Beyblade itself, let me address the role played by Beyblade manga or anime in this. We all know that the manga or the anime series acts as a marketing material for the Beyblade toy line produced by Takara Tomy. Even though the manga and the anime themselves portray Beyblade as a sport activity, they never help much to actually make Beyblade a sport in real life. I would argue the closest to something like that was actually the first season of Beyblade Burst. Unlike Bakuten Shoot and Metal Fight, which had a lot of fantasy elements in their stories, the first season of Beyblade Burst actually showed us what Beyblade as a sport could look like. Rather than some supernatural forces controlling the Beyblades, we saw characters actually focusing on launch techniques and tactics in this season. But that was kinda short-lived, as in the later seasons, Burst also brought in some fantasy elements like resonance and flux and all, and the characters were controlling their base with their commands or thoughts. Don't get me wrong, I also enjoy watching these series and I can understand how these kind of stories would attract more youngsters to the series and thus to Beyblade itself. But then again, that's only to help Takara Tomy sell more of their products and nothing more. Let's wait and see how the Beyblade X manga and the anime progress in the future, but to be honest, I'm not expecting it to be much different. That's all about the manga and the anime. Now let's move on to the real life game of Beyblade. Now I just want to make clear that when I say making Beyblade a sport, I don't mean getting it into the Olympics or anything like that. So then what exactly is considered as a sport? A general definition of a sport is any activity that involves physical exertion or skill, competition and a set of rules to be followed. If that is what's considered as a sport, then Beyblade surely fits the bill. It involves physical exertion and skill to use the different launch techniques according to the situation after observing the opponent's tactics, of course. There's also competition between two players and there are rules for any competition made by a governing body like say WBO. So does that make Beyblade a sport? Not exactly. You see, Beyblade is completely controlled by Takara Tomy as a product of their own. Have you actually heard of any other sports that's completely controlled by a single company? You can only use Takara Tomy, Hasbro or Sonokong's products in official Beyblade tournaments. This game will remain as a company's product as long as these kind of tournament rules are followed. Now Takara Tomy has every right to control Beyblade as they wish, it is something they created. But that's not helping much if they are honestly interested in making Beyblade a sport. Even though the WBO, that acts like a governing body for Beyblade tournaments across the world, is not directly affiliated to Takara Tomy or any company for that matter, at the end of the day, it intentionally or unintentionally just ends up as a tool to market and promote Takara Tomy or Hasbro products that are just toys. And that in turn hinders the evolution of any competition with these products to a sport. To find a solution for this, we need not look further than the Beyblade manga or anime itself. We can see the characters in these stories designing and making Beyblades or Beyblade parts of their own. We have lately seen a rise in custom Beyblades in real life as well. There are a lot of custom designs made either using 3D printing or even casting techniques. Why can't these custom designs be allowed in any tournaments? WBO or any tournament governing body can place restrictions on things like the materials with which each individual parts can be made or the weight or size of these parts to regulate the designs so that the competition is fair. There can even be different competition classes or categories based on the size or weight of the base. I understand very well that these can't happen without Takara Tomy permitting such tournaments, but if they make such a decision to allow custom designs to also compete against their products in official tournaments, that may be the big step that's needed to give Beyblade tournaments any semblance of being an actual sports competition. We have a lot of examples for these kind of competitions where competitors pit their custom designs against each other, all the way from robot combat tournaments to motorsports. Beyblade could also use such a format of competition to make the game more engaging to the participants than just simply participating with bays that are assembled from parts that they bought from some store. This doesn't mean Takara Tomy will lose their business or anything. They will still be the ones to decide who can actually sell Beyblades under that brand name. And it's not like we don't already have fake Beyblades and rip-offs being sold all around the world anyway. Nothing can actually replace authentic Takara Tomy Beyblades for any true Beyblade enthusiast, and as long as they have control over that brand, Takara Tomy won't have anything to worry about. And if the creators of these custom Beyblades get really crazy with their creations, that may even force Takara Tomy to improve their own designs, which overall will only improve the competition and Beyblade itself. So if whoever calls the shots regarding any Beyblade competition can make such a decision to allow custom base also to compete against Takara Tomy products, that could be the key to making Beyblade more of a sport than just a game invented by a toy company. But is there any chance any of this will actually happen? I don't think so. As I mentioned earlier, Beyblade is Takara Tomy's product, and anything from the rules to even the prizes of any competition are actually just tools to promote their toys. Seeing them open a Beyblade training center or publicize Beyblade X as gear sports may lead you to thinking that they are serious about it. But take a look at their latest product releases and you will know they are just focused on milking more money out of their customers as much as they can. If they are not honestly interested in making Beyblade a sport, then it simply won't happen. The kind of marketing you see now is just to keep the generation of customers that they got from the Burst era still interested in Beyblade even though Burst has now ended. There was a big gap between the end of Bakuten Shoot Beyblade and the beginning of Metal Fight era, and a smaller gap between Metal Fight's end and the beginning of Burst era. But Burst has been around for a much longer period of time compared to the others, gathering up a pretty large fan base across the globe. And now we are moving on to the next generation of Beyblade without much of a gap in between. Takara Tomy knows that the Burst audience are now older, and they found a way to keep most of them interested in this new generation while attracting more people as well by marketing it as a sport. That's all there is to it. Even though I would honestly be really glad to be proven wrong by Takara Tomy, I am not so sure that would really happen. Their focus is more on the business side of Beyblade, and you can't actually blame them for it either. After all, they are a toy company and not a sport governing body. You should expect them to market their products whichever way to get more sales. So what do you think about this? Do you think Takara Tomy will take any actual initiative to make Beyblade a sport? Do you agree with my opinions on this, or do you think that I have got it wrong? Let me know that in the comments. If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel to see more of such content. And until I see you in the next video, bye.